Yeah, how was that?
And
I haven't seen any footage.
No, that's the thing.
Yeah, I
It's
haven't
not
seen.
being covered. And when I saw it on one of the culinary school pages, like it just looks miserable.
So people in culinary school are the ones that are actually.
Well, I got the clip from the JHB culinary school, and then the ones were going around the posters dressed in red and white.
Yeah.
So obviously that was their own personal thing.
Yeah.
But apparently there was more like fire in Cape Town. So most of the fire is coming from Cape Town side. And
hectic.
the Joburg ones is just like, yeah.
they're not too bothered.
You know, but
Shit.
whilst we're actually at that thought, like, what do you think about restaurants right now? Do you think it's Corona that's holding them back? Or is it, self-sabotage?
Well, I mean, I think like Corona definitely has a part to play in it, right? Like you can't run away from the fact that they haven't been able to have people come into their stores. That was their whole thing, They deal with people coming in, sitting down, spending lots of money, I guess, while they're chatting, buying drinks and that type of thing. Now, double whammy, no alcohol, no people sitting down and socializing. So I think they've been hit hard. But, there are ways around it. I guess delivery. But I mean, it's like, like not everyone has the opportunity to be able to take advantage of these delivery services.
Well, my thoughts are, yes, so the people are leaning to this alcohol thing a lot. At least that's where most of the argument is, and they keep proclaiming that the alcohol is the pull into the restaurants. But then I ask, what happened to just going to a restaurant for the good food?
That got thrown out the window a long time ago for profit.
So do we not then say that these restaurants that are around are not up to scratch when it comes to taste and having that be enough of an allure? And on top of that, even if alcohol is gone, what they need to be doing is thinking about alternatives such as things that can build up their experience package.
Yeah.
So
yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing, right? You need to pivot in a time like this. So I guess it's up to the restaurant owners to have that like, I don't know, that onus on them to be like, hey, look, situation is shifted. It's probably not going to go back to normal anytime soon, if ever, right? So they gotta wake up and like just make a move, right? But then you know how it goes. Some people are very resistant to change, and like I guess like the fallback, it seems sometimes, is just to go and protest until something does change, right?
Well,
so yeah, let's see if that's gonna work out.
I'll just take it as survival of the fittest.
Oh, that's it. That's what it is. That's what it is.
Right now, that is exactly what Corona has presented with us. It's either you're good at your trade.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's
or
really...
you're not good at your trade. If you're good at your trade, I don't see how you would be disrupted.
Yeah, you shouldn't
There is some disruption.
Yeah,
but let's face it, economical problems are not a Corona only.
Situation. It's been there. Yeah, it's been.
So
the signals have been there from a long time now, and now this is just, I guess, the Corona is just the culmination, or the final push that's gonna take the week out, I guess.
Take the week out. It really is.
It's rough though. You can't avoid it.
Because during this same period, you have people who are also starting businesses.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
What I hate about it would be nice to see the stats of how many people are entering different sectors of business
right now. Yeah.
What small businesses are people starting? Because I feel that would resolve a lot of issues.
What you're making me think now is like when you're saying that Corona is showing like the fittest of the fittest. Like yesterday, I was watching this thing with the Dunkaroos with DMX and Snoop Dogg. It's crazy. Yeah.
What happened?
Like, I don't know, right? I'm just like, I guess you just sort of this feeling where some of these artists or some of these famous people were almost like used to be able to, like, what can I say, hide behind an illusion. But now with Corona and people, having to film from their houses or whatever, you just get to see people for
who they are.
Yeah, right. Uncut, raw, right?
But I feel like Snoop Dogg has been uncut and raw.
Yeah, so he was, you see it, right? If you watch the thing, you see that Snoop Dogg, he's sort of like, I've been doing this, right? But DMX was sort of like, what? Like,
what were they trying to do?
They were doing like can I call it a rap battle? Not really a rap battle, right? But tune for tune, right? That's what I'd call it. It was tune for tune, and it was cool, all right? Like, I mean, it was entertaining, but maybe for the wrong reasons.
What? Because it was funny to watch him flop?
Yeah, it kind of was. It really kind of was, and also just to be like, just a reality check to be like, wow, this thing is real. It's hitting everyone. No one is safe from this. So I guess that's also like this. So there really is no excuse. There's no like, oh no, some people are kind of getting it better off than others. It's like, nah, man.
I mean, it's the same thing
Everyone,
that keeps happening if you've looked on LinkedIn. You have a number of our peers who are still with that open to work and with the I'm looking for a job, I'm looking for a job, I'm looking for a job. But it seems to be ignorant of the fact that retrenchments are happening right now.
Right? No one's hiring, right? Yeah, no one's.
And they're still singing the same song, and it's like, when are you breaking out of this loop? Where do you expect this job to come from?
100%, right? Right. I mean, it's and that's just the reality of like a whole lot of like what used to be, can I say, respectable, high demand jobs are slowly becoming like easily replaceable and what can I say, irrelevant actually, right? Like it's really crazy, because things are just changing so quickly, right? And people, like, it's to the point where I feel like there are people that are starting their university or were supposed to start this year. Thanks to Corona, they probably didn't, right? And they're probably doing a degree that in the end of the 4 or 5 years, when they come out, they're going to come out and people are going to be like, man, what? We don't need these people anymore, right? Your degree is not, we've got a computer that can do that now. Like that,
exactly,
right? Exactly. So it's hectic, and like in terms of fixing that, I don't know what people are going to have to do. I would say reskill yourself, but you'll get someone that will tell you like, I'm not really digitally inclined, I don't do this computer stuff, bruh, it's not my thing. But I'm like, hey, it's probably gonna have to be your thing now, right? Kind of don't have a choice, that's the way it looks like it's going, right? Because even if you're like, let me say, even if you're an accountant now, as an accountant, just being an accountant doesn't seem to be enough anymore. You need to have this like toolbox of digital programs that you need to understand, exactly, right? That you need to have an understanding of and know how to use, or else companies don't look at you and be like, man, I don't need anyone to just sit down and count my numbers and add up my books anymore, right? That's not enough. What else can you need to do that and some, right?
But do you think it's also not probably the time where companies in general, the traditional setup is also change? Well, it has to change if we are to adapt.
Yeah.
Like with most cases now, we live in a world where people can be entrepreneurs for many types of businesses. And it seems it's a reality that hasn't hit Africa yet, which is like most of the people that I do see active on LinkedIn, they're people with resources, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, they ain't got to get on LinkedIn. They got clued up about LinkedIn, and a lot of people don't have that opportunity.
Yeah.
These are people who have PS5s. These are people, who have like top of the range, like gadgets and everything.
Yeah.
And yet they're still blocked out from, okay, I have all this. What can I do with it?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing.
It seems like it's a little redundant and useless for you to be going on LinkedIn and being like, hey, this is me. Especially when we know a lot of our peers were just doing degrees and not any side work or anything to expand their knowledge.
Yeah.
And in terms of actually skilling up, well, I've seen a lot of people who've been doing Coursera stuff and everything, but that doesn't seem to help either.
No, it really doesn't. Like,
so that makes me like also further question, like, what is the future of companies and business setups? Because I would see the future for employees or people who are looking for jobs to be to assume the roles of freelancing. So basically a whole digital nomad type of era where you can work from anywhere depending on whatever. Because every business now we can't ignore it. It has to have tech in it.
100%.
Some process
right.
or the other for it to keep like churning and everything. And most of the digital services don't require someone to be on the ground or be there. They just have to be good at what they do and understand what the company is and carry out their brand message. So looking at that now,
it's definitely a switch up, because like what you're saying there, and I remember we were just talking about that, and it's literally about what can you do? It's cool and all. I can bring out my degree here, show you the 20 Coursera courses that I've completed. But if you give me a piece of work, can I do it? That's all people really seem to care about there, right? Because you have a lot of people that have good skills on paper, but in practice, it's like, man, this thing's taking you forever to do. Here's someone, right, who's coming out of India, right, hasn't seen a day of university in their life. I give them this program to write, and it's done. And you're like, what, right?
Exactly.
Right? And they're outsourcing. That's how it's working, right? These are people that are like online, sitting somewhere with an internet connection and a computer, and they're knocking out projects like this. And then you have someone who's being university educated, got all the theory down, but you give them a project, they can't finish it, right? And it's like, so what am I going to do? Am I going to pay this overpriced university student, or am I going to go outsource to India? I'm probably going to outsource to India.
Self-made people.
You know, why not, right?
And also, like, when you look at the types of courses people are actually taking, they're not great courses. They're complementary, yes, but not enough to get someone who's a CEO right now to be like, okay, join my team right now.
Yeah, right, because you need someone that can do stuff.
Exactly. And the one field I feel like if people are going to take courses, they should be heading into analytics. So whatever the situation, you can do business, yes, but then you can further specialize and become like an accounting, an analytics person, specialized, because those things are being sold as one range things. Yet there are so many ways that you could benefit a company by being like, hey, look, you guys are an accounting firm. I'm good at analyzing the accounting market and everything. Restaurant market, whatever the situation may be, it just has to be something that you have knowledge of, and definitely something you enjoy. Yeah, right,
because there's no point in doing it.
Exactly.
Else you're going to hate it.
Because reading patterns is you have to be very passionate, and you have to do it without even thinking
about it, right?
Just pick up on trends, you know? And then obviously when you now look at the data should then be there to confirm what you were thinking, or to be like, oh my gosh, you were so wrong.
Yeah, right, exactly. Then you act accordingly. Because what you're saying there is cool, because right now we're at that point where data is readily available. There's so much information out there. And you do have AI systems that can look at your data and analyze it and then give you predictions and recommendations. But I still feel like a lot of companies are resistant to just going fully reliant on AI predictions and recommendations. So there's still that room where I think analysts can feature, because you still want that human face to be the one that's telling you, based on your data, you should probably do this. It feels like, okay, I can trust this. Yeah, it's like not a robot that I just see it run, and then bloop, it comes back with an answer. Sell all your assets, because I'm like, wait a minute, what? Why is this machine telling me to sell everything, right? But if a human comes and tells you, you should sell everything, and you're like, hey, you know what? I trust this guy.
That actually reminds me of something, and a field that would benefit are people who focus on voice production.
Yeah.
Or is it voice?
I mean voice production.
Those people who do voiceovers and voice things. Voice actors.
Okay, yeah, voice actors. Yeah, I think so,
this is their time. It's not just for Netflix or for some ad or whatever. This is the time that they can come in and be like, hey, look, if your AI breaks this down, I can deliver it.
Yeah, 100%.
In my voice. So record my voice so that this is the voice that they deal with. Because I saw on the app Headspace. With Headspace, they give you an option to listen to a male voice or to listen to a female voice. So it already tells you something, and it makes sense. Because for me, if I'm meditating, I can't meditate to a male voice.
Yeah, you want to hear a female voice.
I need to hear a female voice because the tone is just different. But at the same time, I can't listen to all female voices. So I can only specific ones. So that's another market that requires a lot of diversity. In some cases, maybe you want to hear it in someone who comes from your country. Yeah, right, in your accent. It should be a selection now. Do you want to hear it in Nigerian accent? Do you want to hear it in this,
But to be honest, right, I wouldn't put my money on that one only because AI in the next 5 years, when it comes to natural language, it's going to blow people out of the water. It's going to be hectic. Being able, deepfakes. Deepfakes is the thing, the news right now. Everyone's worried about deepfakes and how they can be deceiving. And this is because they've gone to the point where the human voice can be imitated by AI to a point where it's almost, you can tell the difference. But the only problem is that right now, that's hard to do at a computer at home. You still need these huge machine clusters. So only people like Google and IBM and Microsoft are doing stuff like that now. But I mean, in 5 years' time, their models are going to get better and smaller. And just a matter of time until I can whip up my laptop and record your, like literally, right? Like some of these systems, all I need is a 5-minute recording of your voice, and then I'll be able to synthesize your voice for any given text. Right?
Okay,
I mean, that's hectic.
With that being a given now, what about it being sold as the person's face on the screen? I mean, there's some products that require that, you know, that degree of personalization.
Yeah.
And then when you do talk about those technologies, it's like we're still in Africa. Hello, hi.
Yeah.
So even if it does come in 5 years, how long is it going to take
to get to Africa?
But then it also begs and brings up the question of like, how long will it take up for Africa to catch up?
Yeah. I've been thinking about that, and one thing I was wondering is that going back to that. What's the point of getting all educated when you can't practically do something? And I feel like right now, especially because the school system, like no sugarcoating it, it's messed up right now.
There's messed up. Kids are out of school,
and people don't know. The government, I don't know if they have a plan.
They might keep shifting and everything.
Exactly.
And if you're a prospective student going into varsity,
100%,
like you're wrecked right now because you probably even haven't received your acceptance letter.
You see what I mean, right? So now you literally have a bunch of matriculants that are leaving high school and going into a world of complete uncertainty, right? I say scoop all those guys up, right? And start
skilling them up in
digital skills, pump them full of digital skills. Like, you're not going to get all of them that are going to receive it, right? But I mean, if out of 1 million students, you can get 100,000 competent, digitally skilled people, I mean, it can make a huge difference. Because I mean, like, that's the world we live in, right? Where 10 people, Instagram, 10 people came together and made an application that is now affecting the lives of millions, right? That's just 10. Imagine you have 100,000 of those guys, right? Running around, doing projects and getting things done, right? I mean, it's better than just sitting back and doing nothing. I mean, like, no, let's wait for the universities and stuff to open back up. Nah, right? Like, that's not a guarantee. Rather, let's start and then I discussed this with someone and they were like, but don't you think they're too young? Don't you think an 18-year-old is too... And I'm like, no, that's ridiculous, right?
16-year-old building systems for companies
100%,
right now.
right? You don't know. I'm not saying every 18-year-old is going to be able to do it, but that 10% that can, may as well make sure we put them in front of a computer and they start using their skills, right?
You have 10-year-old, 12-year-old vloggers, 6-year-old vloggers.
Right,
like,
exactly.
It's just a question of, I think what happens is, when we look at the world, not a lot of Africans have traveled outside. I mean, I haven't been outside the continent
exactly.
Ever,
it's same.
So, but then the thing is, the reason why I'm so exposed is because of the type of material that I do consume.
Right.
But then if you were to view that, and the last time, I'll tell you about one show. I don't know if you're the one who showed it to me or I just came across it like earlier. It was talking about the same thing. It was also talking about like the cost of services, like someone in India who's got no varsity experience, you know, and they were talking about whether it's good for the world or bad, you know, like where are we headed? Because now in certain countries, if you've skilled up, and you qualify for that job, but then that company is like, nah, I can get someone in India to do it. Now you're like left being like, but I was told I'd be employed. You know, that's what I studied for. That's what I paid so much money to do. And then they were looking at Kenya. Kenya is already doing it. They already have warehouses, so pretty much like India,
right? Where they have people sitting in front of computers doing client work on a freelance kind of basis.
And it's really like something that if we're talking about getting a whole group of people and getting them on the ground and getting them to start like mass producing stuff or like, you know, doing client services, customer services and everything, all that. You know, if they knew that this company has a reputation, they have a training guide to follow and everything, and probably also keep the environment open for employee feedback, because you know that will help to enhance the whole thing. And suddenly we'll start, you know, because people look at China and it's made to seem like this like mind-blowing
like what they do is like, how can you do that?
How can we get there? Like Africa is so far.
You know, you gotta start.
If Africa literally just got down and was like, you guys, this is what we're going to manufacture, this is what we're going to process, this is, you know, all those things, if they were just aligned, would literally become a China.
Exactly. Like
and China
we have
would
everything.
be crying just
we
like
have
that. And all the debts that we owe China could probably be paid off over 2 years, like literally, because that's what they did.
I mean, if you look, I think that's a good example. Let's look at China. China, it took them what? I think they say 60 years to turn around. Right after the war, when they were wrecked, and I mean, China was like nothing. People didn't even care about China.
China was just China.
Trash. And then now look at China. China is the biggest economy.
The world is fighting China right now.
Cool. Africa, what's the difference between Africa and China? Numbers, we've got numbers. In 2050, we're going to have 1 billion people on the continent. Okay,
so everyone is reporting about losing population.
Exactly.
We are not going to be laid back.
Our population is not declining. Cool. Our population is young. All right. Is it academics? No. I think we have a large educated populace as well. There's a lot of people. It's a lot of uneducated people but there's a lot of educated people. You don't need everyone to be educated. You just need
the high school level.
Right? High school level is good enough, right? Exactly. As long as I can tell you do A, B, C, and you understand what I'm saying, I mean, we're doing business, right? And resources, we've got resources. Like we know that's not a problem. What I think we missed that China had was that collectiveness, right?
You mean communism?
Yeah, right. Which is communism, but they also in China has different ethnic groups within. But when you look from the outside, you can't tell. Everyone just thinks, oh, you're Chinese. But when you're in China, they understand and have a thing like, okay, that's that ethnic group.
This one
right.
Hong Kong,
yeah, exactly.
This one's from this place.
So, but that didn't stop them from being like, hey, look, we've got this whole piece of country here. Let's come together and do something. So that's sort of like what's missing here right now. That
the United States of
Africa. That full collaboration. I mean, even if it starts off happening
in just one
on a regional basis, let's start collaborating on a regional basis, right? Let's do something. Because in my lifetime, right, this is 25 years of being alive, I have not heard of a single project, I'm stand to be corrected, where I've heard 2 or 3 African countries came together with their money and they were like, let's build this road, or let's build this dam, or let's extend this power. I've never heard that. Not once. Why is that, right? How do we have a continent of 54 countries and not once in my 25 years of being alive have I heard 2 countries, just 2, come together and collaborate? But that was built before, right? When they were still what's it, Rhodesia, right? When it was one thing, right? Then they split up and they never worked together again. Like, what's up, right? Like, why don't we have more?
It's something that should seem so, well, it's something that is so obvious, and it's something that should be done already.
Yeah.
But for some reason, that's my question now, is that what stops us from having that? Because even when you look at the leaders that are in place right now, there are people who went to varsity, there are people, yes, there are some who did not get clued up, but the majority do have a degree.
Exactly.
in
they've been exposed to this knowledge.
Majority have a cabinet full of educated ministers.
Exactly.
So what happens to the brain and emotion that stops them from them being like, okay, maybe we need to dial it back, and maybe this is the way to go right now. What other force are we missing that keeps our countries divided?
And I think it's a sense of pride that's missing. Almost like Africa needs a rebranding. You'll get like educated people that are African, but they kind of look down on Africa, right? They don't see it as an opportunity. They see it as a problem. They're just like, no, Africa doesn't have this, it doesn't have that. And they're not saying, well, maybe it's opportunities for me to fix that and help change that. It's more like, oh, it's not my problem. I'm educated, I'm gonna make lots of money, and I'm gonna break out. That's all I care about right now, right? And like sometimes I look at that and I'm like, you know what? I can't blame you for that, right? Because what Africa's in right now, it's a battlefield. There's no sugarcoating it. Yes. Things aren't nice here. It's a battle, and what happens in a battle, you need soldiers. Not everyone goes to war, right? The civilians, they go off, they stay somewhere safe, so that's the civilians that maybe they want to go off to Europe or America and be safe where they're comfortable. Cool, but right now here, we need soldiers. We need people that are ready to fight this battle, and it's not a arms battle anymore. Right now, it's a battle against ignorance, poverty, disease. Those are the battles we're fighting here. And you can't be thinking, what can Africa do for me right now? It's about what can I do for Africa? So that's the mindset I think is missing. People are still trying to see, what can I gain from the continent?
From the continent, yes, that is very
But
true.
the question should be, what can the continent gain from me, right? What can I sacrifice? What can I put in to make sure that Africa moves forward? But people aren't thinking that. People are thinking like, what can I get out of Africa? So either I can break out or I can stay here, but I'm chilling. I'm not worried about, I'm going to close my gate to my beautiful home and I'm not going to worry about what's happening out there, right?
Everybody else's problem.
Exactly. I'm sorted, right? And I'm
out
like,
of sight, out of mind.
Exactly. And I'm like, cool, I get that. That's one mentality. But where I know that people are out there, there has to be those people that are out there that are ready, that are keen for this battle, right? That are keen for like, I'm seeing all these African problems and I'm just itching to solve them, right? Where are those guys?
That's the surprising fact, that we observe a lot of solutions day to day. It's not even a joke. Like we literally see them, we discuss them and everything like that. And it seems so simple. And everybody be like, yeah, easier said than done. But then now we're talking about a world where there's tech.
Yeah, right.
So a lot of things truly are easier said and easier done.
100%, yeah, exactly.
Like things like, I see one of the problems. We have all these vendors that push around these carts.
Yeah, yeah.
They're always constantly pushing them around on foot. And then I'm like, a company could easily invest in them or invest in people who are willing to do that, get them on bikes and make the carts more, portable without making it expensive at all. 100%. Take what they have and just attach it to a bicycle. Obviously, there's some midsection things going on, but then if you have the money, it's easy. It's easy to do. The next thing, get them onto like some Uber platform, which it would, another version of Uber, because now we're thinking about solving African problems.
100%.
We know everybody does not have a car.
Yeah.
We also know that not everybody is credible to go and be like, hey Uber, can I rent this car? Can I become your driver? These are my credentials. Give me a car. It's not as easy as that. You have to have some money in your pocket, have some reliable thing, whatever. But a lot of people don't have that. A lot of people are still undocumented. I'm talking about simple things like birth certificates. I'm not even talking about passports or IDs, just a birth certificate. People truly can actually survive their lives without a birth certificate.
Yeah, true. There are people that live like that, 100%, right?
So if we're looking at that, we need to start thinking about that populace that has those, they have solutions. There are a lot of ideas around. It's just that they need someone who understands the tech side of things or just the business side of things to have hope in them. Yes, there are risk factors involved, but what business does not have risk factors?
100%.
And if we're looking at truly wanting to pull Africa out of this hole, we really have to be willing to take on the risk.
100%.
Because another thing that I was talking to a gentleman another day, and we were talking about, why is it that if, let's say, Tawanda is a millionaire, right? And I'm like, Tawanda, this is my project, all I need is $5,000 and everything. You probably be like, a guy like, but come on, you probably don't need that, but you rate someone and you don't give them money. But one guy who shows up and being like, hey, look, I'm here, I'm gonna make you more millions, and this is my thing, and this is my educational background, this is my experience and everything. And yes, they are great candidates. I don't say turn those people down, but then the number of people that are being turned down here, I see that we could be creating a lot more entrepreneurs, a lot more businesses, if we're willing to take that million, because some businesses only require 1,000 to get going.
Exactly.
Just 1,000.
Not even
because I'm talking down to the most basic vendor here. They need just 1,000. Some need 5,000, 10,000. Not big sums. Just hope. If they fail, fair and fine. But how many businesses are going to fail? How many 10,000s are there in 1 million?
In 1 million, I think you have 100 of them.
How many businesses will fail out of 100?
And
let's say if even 20% stay on, surviving, those 10% are more likely going to bring you more money long term. Because all they really need is that belief, that hope, someone who's actually looking out at them. Because you have a lot of people, we meet a lot of people who are like, hey, all I need to start a business is just this much. I don't understand why people can't just give me this much. Or I know this person who could give. but they don't want to give.
Yeah.
And then of course there's also the excuse of people being like, yeah, guys, you don't know what it's like being rich.
And
everything like that. But then I'm like, no, the problem is that in getting and acquiring more money, it seems like we get brainwashed into forgetting. We see it in movies. That point when someone was struggling,
starts making lots of money.
Making a lot of money, and they start thinking they're cooler than everybody.
Right?
Yes, they used to sit down and listen to their friends' problems and everything, and they probably even used to talk about, hey, when I get to the top, I'm gonna help you out in everything.
Right? Yeah.
I mean, it's not to say I've never heard a story like that, but then I did hear a story like that from someone who had gone through a lot of no's, but the person who ended up reaching out and being like, look, I've been in this court case and I finally won 10 million. I'm willing to give you $1 million to invest in your property project. Yeah. And it's not to say that this guy was struggling. The only thing that let him down was the fact that well, not let him, but in the basic gist of it, was the fact that his daughter had suffered from a tumor.
Oh, okay.
So his business ended up failing during that time because he was pouring so much into this. Then his daughter got well, but then now when it came time to get back into the game, and probably 2 of his friends were now so far up and everything, the people that he used to talk to, when he's now like, guys, I'm out of this now, can you help me with this and that? And most of these people, they really don't ask for much. They just want a leg to stand on, and people are like, you have to work hard for everything and everything like that. It's true, but not everyone has to go through the same grueling process. If anything, if you went through that process, you should want other people not to have to go through that. Not to say that you are literally just lifting them up, because we're also looking at people who have struggled in many different ways. They might not have struggled the same way you did, but they've struggled.
You can give them a break in some way.
And when you give them the money, what do you also do for them? You set them up with a team, because you can afford
that's
to.
the thing now, right? Because I was literally about to say that when it comes to situations like that, if someone approaches me, like you're saying, Tony the Millionaire, someone approaches me with a business idea, it's one thing to just give someone money and then for them to just vanish, right? It makes sense especially in situations like that where someone's like a small business up and coming, that you also have the time to help them out, because you might give someone, like say 10K, but that they don't know how to manage that kind of money. It's completely causes more confusion in their life than actually helping them, right? And then now you've done nothing, right? You've just lost 10K, right? But if it's a kind of situation where you're saying now where there's actually time and I have the resources to now help this person, I'm like, I've given you 10K, and now I've also given you 2 or 3 people from my team. We're going to come with you and I'm going to take you through the process of getting your business from this point to that point. I think when it comes to giving money out to anyone, what is important is that you have a plan. I think if you're going to approach anyone, right, it's one thing to have an idea, a different thing to have a plan, right? Because you can tell me, this is where I want to be, but how are you going to get there, right? Okay, cool. Plans can change, but if you have an initial plan, then at least you have something to pivot from and measure against, right? If you're just kind of winging it, it's hard to tell what progress. How do you know if you've made progress towards this goal or not? If you had a plan, then I'll be able to tell you, you see, your plan was that in 3 months' time you're supposed to be here, but you're here. It's not a problem, but we have something to measure against. If you don't have that initial plan, we can't measure against something. And people, they need that skill. Planning out a business requires some sort of skill, some sort of knowledge of understanding your business domain, understanding the risk factors and whatnot. And maybe you, the person who's on the streets with your vegetable cart, you're not thinking about all that. So it'll be nice for me to give you the money and that knowledge support to be right, here's 10K, but here's also a professional who's done this before. They can help you out, plan your business. And I think that's what will get us to that next level in the continent, right? Where people are getting this money, but they're being directed into using it right. Because I can say, we can look in this country, for instance, it is relatively easier if you're a citizen of South Africa to get some sort of monetary support. They can give you loans out, they can help you out, especially if you're doing something like starting a business, building a home, things that are very big. But most of the case, people actually have a stigma against that, because maybe they've had people in their family who've taken out loans and then couldn't pay it back. and now they're just caught in debt, right? Now it's just like, yo, don't mess with loans, don't mess with that money, whatever, right? And it's just because that person probably had a great idea, but no ability to execute or plan it out properly, and no one to tell them like, hey, maybe you shouldn't spend all this money on this. Maybe you should do it this way. It might help you generate more money back, or XYZ, you know.
Well, in terms of plans, I would say that plans, yes. Planning as a skill, yes. But the way plans are taught to us and the way they should be, well, they're said to be done, I don't agree with.
Yeah.
Because I believe we're an expressive people, and a lot of people who the obstacle they face is that they have an idea, they're willing to have a plan laid out and everything. But then the cost of getting that plan, most business plans, average starting up, you get someone who can do it for 3,000. Maybe a student can draw it up for 1.5, you know. But then the question is like, how good is it? Because you also need, for a business planner, it's one thing. The way you're taught to do like business plans in school, it's pretty straightforward. Like you're told A, B, C, and D, but then A, B, C, and D is not our life.
Yeah, right, 100%.
It's not set up like that. So I would hope for a world where we can have business plans that are drawn up, let's say, maybe shorten it out to pitching.
Yeah.
You know, just have slides, someone creates slides for you,
Yeah.
and then you get to pitch. Because once I finish drawing up a plan for you that you requested from me, and I hand you that booklet, because it's a booklet, it's never just a one page.
Exactly.
It's a booklet. And then now, as you are like reading through this, it's just like, noise now. Yet you had a great idea to start with. And all you needed was someone who understood that flow and was like, look, we can put this together. But then because you're not always going to have a friend who's skilled up in that department and who understands you, that also becomes an obstacle on its own. And even in terms of like loans, unfortunately we're in Africa. So there are more things other than financial literacy that obstruct us from advancing. You know, because you could create a great product, but let's say I create a product that suddenly starts campaigning against Uber. Now how much money I have to beat Uber at it. Uber's mission now will be like, this idea is so great, so we either buy you out
or we destroy your business.
You out.
Find ways to do that.
Squeeze you out. And that's the question now. It's like, how do you get protected from such forces? And how are governments actually protecting us from such forces? Because as it stands, you're an African who can start a business, because Uber, let's not even joke. Yes, it was an entry level type of business where they were like a new entry, right? But then now it's kind of like most Uber apps.
100%.
You know, if you wanted
exactly.
to. It's just the question of like, do you have the capital to back it up and to stand and fight against Uber if it's squeezing them out, and actually fight and have the government lobby your business for you to be like, do you guys, Africans, do you want this Uber out of Africa or do you not, you know? So now it's a money game, because Uber could also go to your government and be like, yo, we'll give you 10 million.
To just make sure that this issue is swept away and we don't have to worry about it. And they'll be like, sure, man, why not? Right?
So it is a very like complex setup that we have, and it just also raises the question of, when are we going to abandon old government systems that we've been surviving on? Because the way I see it, if we are to actually function, especially as democracies, we need to look at a more decentralized government system, and also a system that serves the people, not more than, serves serves the people, not the other way around. Because right now they're the ones who get like all those money deals and everything, and it's like, to me, I'm like, why is the government being responsible for a lot of money for which matters to a lot of people now, when it should literally be like, hey guys, this is what we have in our bank, this is the budget for this year, or vote on the budget. Where do you want it to go? We all vote, and then now to be every system, because it should be as easy as just breaking it down to surveys.
I mean, really,
it pops up on your screen. We're thinking about doing this and that. What do you think? Vote on this.
Exactly.
Vote,
just get some user feedback back, right? Because I do wonder that sometimes like that. Like when maybe I'm ignorant to how they do it, but how do they draw up a budget? Right? Well, who sits down? Is it who do they consult? Do they consult only business people? Like, how does that work? But because that's a story for another day. Right? It's a whole other thing.
Very much a story for another day.
But with this situation now that we're sitting with just people trying to start businesses and looking for loans or whatever it is, right? I feel like the people that are the few individuals that you're saying that are on the continent, they have this kind of capital to be creating venture capitalists or angel funders or whatever it is you want to call it, they need to have that question in mind of why are they doing it, right? That's the important part. Because if you are purely just in it to be like, hey, I'm an angel investor, I've got this 10 million and I want to invest it to make my 10 million back, and that's all I care about, then I would look at you and be like, you know what, maybe investing in Africa is too risky for you, right? Go somewhere and do some safe investment. But if you're sitting on the continent and you have 10 million to spare,
and you care about
and you
solving
exactly,
problems.
and you're the reason behind doing it is that I'm looking to uplift and solve problems, then I'll be like, okay, now we're talking, right? Because then you're talking about that situation where someone is willing now to give up that 10K because they know, like, I'd rather lose that 10K knowing that I gave someone a chance than to keep it.
Right?
Yeah,
Only to spend it
exactly.
on another material thing
That's
you know.
really not uplifting anyone, right? So that's the question now.
With that in mind, just FYI,
Yeah,
there's a doctor in Kenya.
yeah,
You know, he got to levels. He was rich.
yeah.
Or probably still is. I'm not sure.
Right.
But you know, and he had an accident, I think, and it caused him. And then he claims that he was, well, God spoke to him and basically was like, you know, just give your riches away because right now you're just stressing more, and you know. But instead of like actually taking that message as in give your riches away, it was more of like he activated and started spending his time building schools. He built so many schools. You know, there's so many schools in Kenya like that he has helped to like build and like pioneer and everything. And he's like, I'm happy and I'm doing it, and it doesn't look like he's, you know, struggling or anything. It literally is like going. And I'm like, wow, how do I? And the only way I found out about that story was from watching Morgan Freeman's God show. I forgot what the title is. It's a God show. He explores a lot of religions in it. But I was just like, wow, and this is news that people need to be hearing, that there are people who've actually gotten to a point in time in their life and are like, look, I'm not happy just grinding to get money anymore. I want to change lives with my money. And actually have those people show the results of them making that decision. Because really, like people, I asked the question of Jeff Bezos. 46 now? Yeah. 46 billion? What is
what? 46? 128 billion. Try that one on for size, right?
My bad. Right? My bad. My bad. 46 is his age?
Yeah, 46 is probably his age.
Or something like that.
No, but he was, no, don't get it twisted. He was on 46 just like 3 years ago. He's quadrupled in value.
Okay, now we're looking at 100 billion. Let's just say 100
billion.
100 billion.
Yeah.
Tawanda, what do you need?
Yeah, right.
If anything, you can live a very comfortable life in a big, nice house if you want to have your nice cars and everything on just 10 million.
Yeah, 100%.
If you're guaranteed that every year that 10 million is going to come in. But then for the other, you know, just for that billion and more billions, because we were talking about it as well, saying that I released it in that blog of mine, saying that 26 of the richest people in the world own as much wealth, if not more,
remaining 99
as the less you know, privileged people. And it's like, how is it happening like that? Because we like to believe, or at least like we don't even bother to think about how money operates. Like right now when people are like, there's no money around, the truth is money is still here. Money has not gone nowhere. Money has just shifted
into different industries, different places,
pockets,
different circles.
You know, the richer getting richer. You know, the poor getting poorer. And that is what is happening, and that's the problem we need to address when it comes to these things. Because really, we really have to think about it. What does a man need with 100 billion?
Right? Well, you see, the thing is, right, when I look, the billionaire talk is one that I like a lot, because when I look at the billionaires right now, I always think of a few. I think of like Jeff Bezos, I think of Bill Gates, I think of Elon Musk. It was just those three guys, right? Because I follow them a lot, right? So what I like about those guys is that if you look at Elon Musk, let's start with Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos. They are guys who, like, say they have X amount of money, right? Like they've realized, they've gone to the point they realize they don't need all this money. But what they've done now is that they've started pouring all this money into space. Jeff Bezos wants to build Blue Origin space shuttle and build a moon base and whatnot. Elon Musk wants to go to Mars, because to them, those are when living in America, surrounded by all this like comfort and wealth, they're thinking, oh, what problems can I solve? Oh, we don't have a moon base yet. Let me fix that, you know. And I look at them and I'm like, you know what, guys, do you? That's not bad. Because they're not making any profit from that right now. Let's be honest, right? They're literally just pouring money into space.
Oh, do they need
right?
to make more money?
Yeah, right. And just hoping and this
Do they
hope
really
and this
need
ideal.
to make any more right
So that's
now?
what they believe in. But where are the they're African billionaires?
No,
Where
they're
at?
African, okay.
Right?
African
where are those
billionaires.
African
Let's take one.
Right?
Dangote.
Yeah,
Dangote
exactly.
said a very nice thing that I understood and really liked.
Uh-huh.
Was that, look, I've made a lot of money
Uh-huh.
in my life and I have a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't own a big fancy house in London or
Yeah.
Paris or whatever. I have colleagues and people who work for me that do.
Right? Exactly. That's crazy.
But I do not have all that and everything. I'm
Uh-huh.
more interested in making my money
Yeah.
to work and better, the
Uh-huh.
continent and
100%, right?
keep
Exactly,
going.
yeah.
And when you look at his business investments,
Uh-huh.
that is exactly what is happening.
doing,
and the
right?
types of businesses that he's involved in,
Mhm.
I like, because he's involved in cement.
Yeah.
And those are types of businesses that help what?
Yeah,
the people at the bottom.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's not a luxury brand or a luxury something
right.
or
It's
anymore.
a commodity that people need right now.
Yeah. So when I look at the Bezos, the Bill Gates, and
Yeah.
Elon and everything, yes, fair and fine, but I feel like we do need to invest in space.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, but then what I'm saying is that they need to invest in space. They, being people that are living in a first world country where don't have to see continuous people in the street, like literally. They I don't think in their experience
They
they ever
probably
walk out the door and see like people just looking rough, like a toilet, like
I
mean in your mind.
I actually
like,
watched a series
it's
recently that
like,
I was so puzzled, and
Yeah.
I was telling a friend that, like, wow, because in this series, like, there is no problem.
yeah.
In this series, it's based on a community, a gated community in America, and everything goes on, and there are little problems about
Like what?
matching couples and things
You see
like
what I
that.
mean? Yeah.
The mayor's problem is talking about setting up the most romantic spot in the town.
Right.
This gated community knows nothing about poverty, or at least their problems are not, those problems.
Yeah, right. It's
And
very what we would consider
there's also,
lightweight problems.
The black people that you do see are people who are just like, background actors.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
once in a while and I was so shocked at how prim and perfect this world was,
Yeah.
And I was just calling it like suburbia
Mm-hmm.
porn. Because it's very much set up in that aspect of
Yeah.
like, this is what a suburban wife's dream
The
world
dream
would
would be,
look like.
okay, right. It's nothing
like if
like
they were
reality.
like an American white person, like this is it for them and everything. And like it made me like every time, like I keep watching it and I keep seeing like, oh my goodness, there are actually people out there that truly don't see poverty and truly
and
don't
live
understand
this
it.
life of like,
As far as they're concerned, poverty only shows up when at charity events when someone is like,
exactly.
help these kids in Africa.
Africa, exactly. Right?
Help
Then
them
you
in
see the
everything.
infamous fly baby.
Exactly.
Right.
And then they pass over the cash and everything. And that is also another problem because you remember, I don't know if you know about the Nai Moyo.
Wait, the name
Where
was.
she wrote the book that talked about how Africa needs to stop accepting aid.
Oh yes,
You know,
okay.
that
yeah,
we
I think
just
I know.
pull the plug and then
And
sort
just
out all our
own
stuff.
things, right? Yeah.
And like I feel like she had a great point, and I feel that we really need to take that part if we're really serious about catching up.
100%.
Because
right?
Bill
we
Gates went against her and was like, oh, all the work we do is helping whatever.
Yeah.
But then I'm still looking at an Africa that keeps deteriorating. Yet they
Yeah.
claim to have been pouring trillions.
Yeah, and it's like,
into the continent.
where's all this
Where
cash
is
going?
this cash?
right?
What is it doing?
Like,
Who is
really?
it? Is food
Yeah.
really that expensive? Yet we know,
right? I know, right? Like, I mean,
they haven't thought about the day-to-day things. They think that saving a kid is yes, giving them an education and giving them food, whatever. But then the reality on the ground is that give them an education, give them food, they eat every day, they come out of those schools because there's an expiry date.
100%.
They come out of those schools, They enter economies with no jobs.
Right? And then what?
Then what? You're not doing anything. And
Right.
those orphanages, in fact, they should be working on a system that is more sustainable, from gardening their own food and everything, and probably getting to a
100%.
point where they sell it, and even
Yeah.
go further to branching out to varsity setups or some type of
You're right. You're
skills, because there are plenty of things that you could do. So when they do say that
100%.
we've been pouring this and
And all
ever
this
since
money
we've been
into
doing this,
this.
it's benefited Africa like this, but it's like,
Yeah.
come on guys, are we really that stupid?
Yeah, right. Like, I mean,
To really
let's-
believe that
let's just
trillions
wake up.
can be poured and a continent will still stand up,
Right.
not stand up after that.
No, it doesn't make
Like
any
it doesn't
sense.
make
right?
any
It really
sense.
doesn't.
And you know, her
Uh,
argument was also the concept of dependency.
Mhm.
Because like, oh, fair and fine, you tell us you gave our African leader this much.
Mhm.
Our African leaders are corrupt,
Yeah.
but guys, there's only some level of corruption they can do.
Right, yeah.
There's only so much money they
it's like
can
they can
steal.
take, right? I mean, come on, right? Let's be real.
You know,
Uh-huh.
but the problem is that African leader gets used to getting money, so they never have to think
Mhm.
about resolving their problems.
Yeah.
Because for them, it's
They're
about
still gonna
taking
get paid.
pictures with that
Exactly,
UN
right? Yeah.
correspondent
Uh-huh.
and this correspondent
Doing
and
this press
that, and be
conference
like,
here and
yeah,
there
you know,
and-
opening that one orphanage.
Yeah, right? And voila, paycheck.
You know, and yet, like, even when you look at South Africa,
Uh-huh.
South Africa is about 65 million people at the moment.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah,
Right.
55 was probably.
Yeah, 55 to 65.
65, yeah.
And I thought it was 55 before, but there
But
was a
in
time when I read
census, yeah,
another
probably,
figure,
yeah,
you know.
it's probably up now.
And so if we're dealing with 55 to 65,
Mhm.
and they were talking about a budget of 500 billion at the beginning of this year.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and if we really want to take the concept of spreading wealth seriously,
Mhm.
if they took that 500 billion that they were
Mhm.
talking about
Yeah,
and invested it into every individual,
yeah.
just like, look, every month this is the amount that's entering your bank
Yeah,
and everything,
right,
right? What you do with it,
Yeah,
that's on you.
yeah.
We will set up communities
Uh.
that educate you about financial,
Yeah,
literacy, or even
yeah.
like before they start releasing money, it's mandatory for
Yeah,
you to
it-
attend financial literacy
Right,
school.
if you want to qualify for getting this
Exactly.
money or
Of which
whatever.
that's
right?
1 billion.
Yeah.
You know, it gets all these communities or whatever. The thing is, what type of business are you thinking of? What type of thing, school would you want to attend?
Yeah.
Set up small communities, because most of these things we've seen, there's courses now, 3
Yeah.
months, 6 months, you
Yeah,
can be done
it
with
is.
something.
Yeah.
After that is done, money is injected into the community.
Mhm.
When it's injected in the community, if you, Tawanda, lose your 1 million that you got from the government, it's
Yeah,
on
it's
you.
your fault, right? Yeah.
It's your fault. It's
yeah.
not the government's problem now. And now we've taken away all this money that they're always telling us about, what budget this, budget that, and put it and be like, okay, fine.
There you go.
We can't have people who are complaining every day and people
Yeah.
who are not complaining every day,
Yeah.
and have the people who are not complaining every day be the ones who are running the funds. It doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make sense, right?
It
No.
really does. And if anything that Corona has shown us is that there's really a gap between the government systems and its people.
Yeah.
Because the type of solutions that they're telling us about are not solutions.
Yeah.
They're running out of solutions, yet here on the ground, we could probably give them like
Yeah, all the
1,000
solutions they need.
solutions and be like, hey, look, what, you're having a problem with that. That is what you can do.
Yeah.
Oh, what do we need to do? Make everybody go digital so we limit people moving around.
Mhm.
Fine,
Fine, right?
we just have an app, a few, maybe few tech companies get together,
Yeah.
they start just
Yeah.
producing apps to do that, but then when you look at the government websites and systems themselves, they're also just
Yeah, struggling a
so,
bit. Right?
faded. And it's like, how are you guys so faded, yet you're constantly handling this money,
right? Yeah.
So it really also is just like, apparently they said that they were gonna buy 100 motorcycles.
Mhm.
For each motorcycle,
100
they said,
motorcycles,
yes, for some other region here. And for each motorcycle, they said it would cost 10,000.
Mhm. Okay.
Right.
Sounds about right.
Is it 10,000?
Sure, sounds right.
Or is it 100,000?
1,000 for a motorcycle.
I think they said
what kind
100,000
of motorcycles?
for,
For the whole lot? Or?
No.
What the
Or
heck?
something. We're saying 10.
Yeah, maybe it must be 10. 100,000 for a motorcycle doesn't sound right.
10 motorcycles for 100,000.
Okay,
I
that
think.
sounds right. Yes.
Right?
Mm.
And then when you look at that number, it doesn't make sense. If we're really looking at solving solutions, coming up with solutions,
Missions, yeah.
those motorcycles, when you look at their budget or their invoice is not Tawanda by this corner shop has this number of motorbikes. That invoice is directed where? To China.
Right, yeah.
It's like, China, here you go. But it's not like we lack for a number of stores that are here and everything that actually have good. And instead of also thinking about brand new things all the time, we have a lot of garages that have that could clean up their cycles if you gave them a certain amount of money, all those things. Why do we have to keep thinking of going outside and not
for
inside?
Things. Yeah, 100%. Because you say what you're saying, that all I'm hearing is self-reliance.
Self-reliance, exactly. Self-reliance.
We have to be on our own, because like goes back to the thing with Jeff Bezos and wanting to go to space. He's not worried about African problems because he's not here, right? Yeah. If we want to solve our problems, it's gonna be ourselves, right? If we want to do anything, we're going to have to do it ourselves. No one is going to come, especially the people that are benefiting from the current state of things, are not going to come and change it. It's not going to happen. You can dream all you want. It's not going to happen.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Exactly.
But South Africa is a special case when you think about that. The out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
Because I always give you this example of that. Last year, I went to, was it last year or the previous year before that? Mm-hmm. I went to an outing with friends for a friend's birthday. Yeah. And we booked an Airbnb by Hot Beer Sport. Okay, I don't even know if I'm like, and it shocked me that it was everywhere, but I mean, in the West Rand, you could see it. Yeah. In the West Rand, there's Ramsig and everything, lavish estates. But just next door, there's Zandspruit. Yeah, Zandspruit is just
pure shacks.
Just pure shacks and, terrible, But I guess I was more taken aback when I saw this estate and saw that just a few 100 meters down the road, you had shacks. And to me, it did not make sense, because for me, I come from a farm, and in a farm, we have a compound. Yeah. Where all the workers have houses. Yeah, right. Proper houses, So I'm like, it really, and most of the houses that are there, and they get repaired by us, with the workers as well, and like most of the bricks would have made ourselves, all those things, because we can. And then also with them being out there and also being in South Africa where resources are abundant, we always make it seem as if building houses is such a big cost. When it comes to building basic housing. I'm not talking about your
so lavish mansion or something.
I'm just talking about
2-3 bedroom house.
2-3 bedroom house.
Normal ground level type.
Roof. And, a few pots here and there. Like a decent place.
Yeah, like I've seen it happen so many times.
So many times,
it's
right?
Like, wow, this thing is actually
I mean, right now we even live in an age where people can turn containers into
homes.
Houses.
Exactly, right?
But really. For some reason, we're still not solving this slum situations and housing problem. And now you have people who've gotten so used to living in these conditions that even when they make money, they still go back and they stay. They'll park their bins, right there. And that is like, this is that big of a problem. It's that big of a problem.
It's now normalized in a way, right?
You say people can escape, but there are people who actually escape for what?
Exactly.
This is my life,
Exactly.
And that is the problem. No man should think that is okay.
Yeah, right.
It doesn't make sense, because for me, it's like a flood happens or any hectic climate situation. Your house is gone. It's useless. You could, freeze to death.
Yeah, right.
Suddenly there was a cold front that was that hectic. I mean, we saw it 2-3 weeks back. That was a bad one. That was a bad one. And I don't think if you're living in those tin items, you were living La Viva Loca.
No, it was rough. Right.
It was rough. And I was even telling Kigris the other day that one of the beggars, was telling me about how, sister, can I have some money? I'm going to go to Orange Farm because it's too cold out there.
Hectic, break
out. Too cold outside. It's breaking out. And I'm like, all those things that you see day to day. And I guess, like you can say, it's out of sight, out of mind. 100%. But in some cases, it's also like just ignorance. It's being comfortable with seeing poverty around you and still going back to your house and being like, because especially in SA, you don't get to travel around to a lot of places without passing 2 or 3 settlements.
100%, exactly, right? Like you'll see
They're
them.
everywhere.
It's in your face.
Everywhere. It's in your face. So
Yeah.
how is it
Yeah,
we can
that's-
ignore that?
Yeah, right. You can't ignore it. You really can't. Well,
'Cause it's not
I
out of
certainly
sight.
can't. Right?
It's not
I can't.
out of sight.
Like
It
I see
bugs
that
me.
shit, and I'm like,
Mm,
what's
it
going
bugs
on
me.
here?
But
now,
we
right?
love to report. Oh no, by this corner it's so not safe.
Yeah,
whatever.
right.
And it's like,
Exactly.
but why
Exactly.
is it
No, it's
not safe?
Exactly. Let's get to
Why
the
is
bottom.
it not safe?
Because that's sort of, and like like when it comes to stuff like this, we've covered a lot of problems. Let's talk solutions, right? Like, so what, in your opinion, right? I've got my opinion in this. Is the biggest problem? What should be the first thing that we need to fix on the continent? Let's even look at it. Let's focus it down to South Africa, right? What's the first thing that you think needs to be fixed here? What's the biggest problem that you're like, at least if we start here and we make good progress in this field, we should start seeing a turnaround in some way, right? What would you pick if you had $1 billion right now, one guy, and I'm like, start fixing one problem. Don't try and spread this money. Pick one and let's focus on it. What would it be?
Vendors.
Okay, so
Vendors. I've always thought about how, like even back home, like I've always not understood how we do not have a market for vendors.
Yeah.
I mean, back home there's some sort of like informal market going on there. But I'm talking about a market where everything is clean. You know how you see on those farmers markets on TV, people like walk over and be like, can I actually want to be there? It's not something that's exclusive to these deli places or whatever. I'm talking about just getting the average vendor and being like, look, this is a market here, we've built it up. It's got a water supply, it's got everything. Probably rig it up with solar and everything, right? Make it stand, have rules. Being like, this place must be clean all the time.
If you don't keep it a certain way, you get kicked out or something.
Maybe one or two cleaners that help to support, the maintenance throughout the day and everything. End of day, everybody leave your station clean.
And then a question I would like to ask with this idea is, are these people paying rent? Is this subsidized? How does it work?
Yes, like any, because we do need these guys to also become more woke and everything, and being like, look, the more unique, we should also educate them, because we don't want a market that has one whole row of tomato sellers.
Right. Yes.
we don't want that. There should be a cap on just how many tomato sellers there should be. Unique section, different, basically subsidizing the amount of vegetables or types that can be there. And in terms of now them paying, you make them pay. But then the one thing that we always miss is that we always go for this amount. But we're talking about getting these people up, because there are many different types of payment systems that we can develop to support everybody. Because not everybody is going to be a ready vendor who already has ready money. They're going to be like, okay, I'm invested. But the question is, I want to know, are you a competent vendor? What's your idea with this? We talk to you, like a human.
Exactly.
We talk to you. What are your problems? What are you facing and everything? Maybe you'll even help us to upgrade that whole setup and everything. But then once we know what problems you're facing, it's easier for us to provide something better for you.
That makes sense. And I feel that.
So in that case now, because payments don't just have to be done in the generic way that we've grown up to thinking that, month end is the time,
it's like,
whatever. Paying, and then when month end comes, the landlord is on your neck.
So.
Everything and so. Because we don't live in a society that's like that yet, where everybody is ready to stand. So we need to come up with solutions for that, of how to still get value out. Maybe if you can't pay, maybe you can subsidize your rent into something else. Maybe you have to help out or volunteer somewhere. Maybe we have a soup kitchen or something.
These ones are what, 180?
Yeah, 180. The one on the front is 240.
This is the Bob Marley.
Because instantly I'm thinking about profit sharing. Like if someone doesn't necessarily have the cash up front, you can tell them like, look, we'll help you monitor how much you're making, and then we'll just take like 10% or 5% of that until you get to a point where you can pay the full amount or whatever it is. So, but no, like that's
getting people
that's a
to
pretty
stand,
cool
and then
idea.
if you want to then become a store or something, we're there to facilitate that for you.
And help you make that next jump into something else.
So there's my idea. What's yours?
Oh, my idea, it's you're probably gonna guess it. It's education, right? And right now, like I've just been heavily focused on this idea of just getting people digitally skilled, because like you've said, right? It's one thing to worry about the age and can this person understand. Let's not worry about it. Let's start putting 12-year-olds in front of computers. Like you say, I'm working with Google Cloud. Let's give them a Google Cloud account, train them up for a year. Let's see what's going to happen.
let them explore.
You might be surprised, right? A 12-year-old comes and builds the next best app, right? And you're like, what the heck? I thought 12-year-olds didn't know anything.
I mean,
But that's
right
the way
now
it
you
goes,
have in
right?
Europe, you have a 16-year-old who became a millionaire.
Right?
So how much?
180.
Sure.
Wanted. Okay.
And that's just the way it goes, right? Because you can't keep second guessing. Some of these things you just got to start and then see what happens, right?
You
You
really
can't keep,
do.
you can't keep waiting and wondering what if,
Because really,
what
and
might
I'm,
happen,
I'm
what
saying,
might not
I'm
happen.
saying one 16-year-old, but there were a couple
Working
that
together.
already
right?
had proper businesses, and it was only because they had a supportive environment.
Yeah, to help them
That's the
grow
thing.
these skills and actually,
Because I guess it goes back to our discussion last week about how there's lack of people supporting black businesses, unlike
yeah, right, over here, exactly, right? It's the
people who
support.
don't trust, who don't
right.
realize that in supporting black-owned businesses, small businesses, they can make them rise.
Exactly,
Thank you.
right? Give thanks, brother. And that's the way it goes.
Mm.
Because okay, with the education angle as well, right? I like the idea of getting young people interested and heavily invested in something that not only benefits their society, but keeps them away from certain influences. Because that's the problem. Why do we have issues right now? Most issues are coming from adults that are, I guess, can I say, broken adults, right? Maybe
Yeah.
life didn't go the way they wanted it to go. Maybe they encountered some sort of troubles that may have been avoidable, but it happened to them, and now they're a certain way, and they can't seem to get out of a rut. So I'm like, okay, cool. We can spend a lot of time trying to fix the people that are already struggling and like, quote unquote broken, or we can go for the young people, right? Which is what we have mostly on our continent. Most of the people right now I see running around are children. Let's get those children in front of in the right environments, like you say, and that'll encourage their creativity, encourage their abilities, and level up their skills, driving them towards the direction of let's change society and let's make it right into the society that you want to see. Right? I'm pretty sure young people, they have what I like about this new generation we're living in, right, is that you're getting, like you said, I haven't left the continent, like you said, you haven't left the continent, but we have an idea of what life is like outside of the continent. And I feel like now more than ever, a lot of young people, they have that idea. And I'm pretty sure a lot of young people are starting to question themselves, right? Like, why can't we have that here, right? Why can't I live this life that I see on television or whatever over here, right? And
Sorry,
you have,
just to interrupt you there. That question, though, is it a question they're asking, or is it a question of, I see they have better, I want to go to?
No, that's what I'm about to say, right? Exactly. Because that's it. So two things happen from that, and that's the ones that will be like, you know what? I'm gonna break out and I'm gonna go there where it's nice. But I am confident enough to say, only because I think like that, and I'm not special. I'm not the only person who thinks, wait a minute, why can't we bring that over here, right? So we wanna go through these schools, find all those children that are thinking like that. That even when I show them the Empire State Building or whatever, show the New York City and all the lights and everything, they're thinking, why can't that be Fox Street? Why do I have to go all the way to America to have that, right? I'm like,
we could do
I
so much
gotcha,
easier
right?
because
So-
there's solar,
right? Yeah, then we need to get all those ones and literally, like I said, put them in an environment where that mentality, that thinking is
be
encouraged.
nurtured, and they can explore their different abilities.
10 years, so I'm just saying, it's 12-year-olds, this is a bunch of 12-year-olds.
All that money they spent going into high school is the
Yeah.
money that could be spent developing their
this,
minds.
exactly, right? And then 10 years from now, you now have a bunch of 22-year-olds skilled up, trained, have the mentality already, and they're ready to just go out there and make a
Freelancers
difference,
probably,
right?
you know.
What I'm talking about? So that's where I would put my billion if I had one now. It would be creating that environment for children who are children now, and focus on that 10 years from now. These are highly skilled, pro-African, ready to build and ready to uplift, and they have not only now do they have the skills, but then whatever money is left to help them actually have the resources to do some of the things, some of the ideas that they've developed over the years, or whatever it is,
No, I definitely agree. Education is one factor, but yeah, and you answered my question, because my issue with education is that you have a lot of people who are thinking education, but then when they think about education, it's, I want to build a school. It's like, oh my goodness, we already have too many of those, or at least the traditional types.
Of schools,
and what we need is the unconventional types of schooling
100%,
things, because now we need more apprenticeships, not to
people
say
have
that apprenticeships
skills.
where someone goes and sticks on to someone who's working and everything, but the types that, we start incorporating into an educational system, like you're saying. If we put a bunch of kids in one room that have the same interest, let's say it's solar.
Like
we already know some materials needed for solar are not hard to get.
They're abundant in Africa.
They're abundant. And now we only need people who think about creating more efficient systems.
Exactly.
And if you let kids compete against each other for the better model, not only are you giving them a degree or whatever, the certificate that they'll be coming out with, but now you have ready products that are actually coming out of it. And the one mistake I see a lot of institutions doing is that when they set out their students on certain projects and everything, they take 100% of the project.
Exactly. I mean, come on, right?
And I'm like, what? Are you
then
crazy?
There's no incentive for the students to innovate, right?
But if I tell a student that, look, we're facilitating you, 50% is yours. Or whatever. It just has to be a fair balance, This is yours, you can keep hold on it and everything. If you want to continue running the company, great. If you just want to be a shareholder, great. Like all those type of options that they actually know that they can be free to create more and free to think about more, because it's not just also, that's why I was asking the question of like company setups, what does the future of company setups look like? And for me, I just see also decentralized setups where a company can have a headquarters, and literally those are the only permanents that are there, but the rest are just like freelancers, because in increasing that competition, you increase that quality and that better product, us getting to more efficiency and better and better and better. And also because people are competing, you have people who can do menial tasks the best way possible. So those are the types of like things that we have to look at. I mean, there are companies like WeWork, they've come out with that sort of vibe, but then because it's coming out of America, it's not exactly addressing the African concept of work life and everything. I can't afford to go into a WeWork office, right?
The fuck.
And the types of things, I don't need an office with a beer tap and whatever. I need an office that can, help me advance my project more further, and, help me to create better and think about my peoples. I can't just be around, yay,
party time, relax, chill,
whatever.
I got no problems.
I should at least walk in the kitchen and see on the board there's like 10 top 10 problems that have been identified in Africa, because I think that's another problem. We have to accept that there are some of us who can think about ideas, and then there are some of us who are good at executing ideas. So if we have a platform that actually shows people vote on things that they think, we should go, like we're talking about, like how do we get organized? If we could have a platform where people can vote and be like, this is our biggest problem right now. This is our biggest problem right now. And then now we know, because we are receiving this message. Now we send it out to the people who can resolve those things and be like, you guys, you can't explain. You can't complain, because people are literally giving you what their problems are.
Exactly.
And so these are the problems needed to be that we need to solve, because we also go back to the luxury brands. Like, I don't need any more designer tees. I don't need any more designer shoes. Those don't solve. They can create jobs for 1, 2, 3.
But they're not
those are not
solving
the problems. They're not solving
problems.
We need things that hit home.
And actually like fix the place, right? No, that's the way. Okay, cool. Thanks for the discussion, right? I think I'm done now.
Right, I'm also done now. I think we've really
exhausted a lot of a lot of things, a lot of topics, and hopefully gets people thinking, right?
Yes, hopefully.
Right. Alright.
Awesome.
Rastafari love. Behold, how good and how pleasant it is for I and I to dwell in unity and love. Black and white, unite, come to the feast, dancing in one love. I and I shall be like the Jew of Herman, and also the Jew that descend upon the old mountains of Zion. Yeah. But the Lord Jah.
Don't need your passage to the world. Judgment come, judgment come. Oh yeah, great judgment come, judgment come. Don't need your working fire once again. Judgment come, judgment come, judgment come. That's the fire burning good. Judgment come, you know, sir. Judgment is, we living in a dangerous time. Oh, what a terrible time, yeah. I'm an Indian time, yeah. Fire shall burn. We're living in a dangerous time. Oh, what a terrible time, yeah. I'm an Indian time, yeah. Fire burn. This is the thing that they want to find. We give up in the system for your work on them. But the international strength and that one burn nothing. We give up in the system where they all want to learn. They pick up the pressure, pick up the system. But we don't see the food of the body good. Listen to the ninja child, listen to the master child. Follow to the world that wants to burn the God on him. Living in a dangerous time. Oh, what a terrible time. Oh, yeah. I'm gonna give me a time. Ooh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Whoa, living in a dangerous time. Yeah. Are you feeling? Are you feeling high? Are you feeling? You know, judgment comes in this bones of your life. It's our destination. We must give it without hesitation. Anointing is a good admiration. And the heart of until we have no obligation. There was some mighty comparing lion. There was some correction from Zion. This is not the leaders of the man of Babylon. The ship it was Sam and station. Hey, boy, we didn't. Are you there? Oh, what a terrible time. Yeah. We take them more. We live in a judgment. Oh, what a terrible time. Yeah. I'm an Indian. Fire. Watch out. Listen, listen now. So that the angels never work on them. Rastafari. Let's have it for your partner. Believe on the Rasta, fear not them. We have a better Rasta, hey, this and this. We're going to Rastafari and the president. But the Sicilians, we are not as them again. Million judgments never shine them again. The more we live, your cities, the more we live. Oh yeah, ooh, 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 yeah. Bring the Rasta, yeah. Oh, what a terrible time, yeah. Ooh, ooh, oh, yeah. Are you feeling? I love the music. Check it out. All right, for the lovers. And when you deserve it upon, you deserve it upon. Everywhere you deserve it upon. Baby, say you deserve it upon. Let it loose, my boy. And when you deserve it upon. Baby, you deserve it upon. Everywhere you deserve it upon. Baby, you deserve it upon. Everywhere you deserve it upon. Baby, you deserve it upon. I've got you in my mind, like my rhymes and my lines. You in my heart. Boom. If you love somebody, let me hear you say more for everywhere you there, be there, man. Shawty, you there, be there, man. Now, skeleton, what do you say? Be there, man, yeah. Baby, you there, be there, man. When everywhere you there, be there, man, girlfriend, yeah. Injection, you get satisfaction. Me and you will multiply and bring forth the nation. Beautiful and calm is a woman of the nation. Get up and now when you be. Woo! Same thing again. Long time now, Yo, skeleton, jump for them. Your ways are always before me. And you keep me from my enemy. You keep me from my enemy. You keep me from my enemy. Sure. Watching for fire, the one try to dance me. Who I want your son, come and try to dance me. Skeleton of life, so them can't get me. Every day you're alright, me up on the road. But you wanna wicked, wanna steal from the road. Judgment in the city, tell us how to move. I still yell, kids, say I see mother. None of them try to dance me. Them dance me up and down. Them try to dance me. Them dance me up and down. Inside them speaking, them come, them son, them come shut up. I want them up, them dollar. Skirt and place, I'm on with fire starter. True, I'm on a push on the other head.
Bro, you there?
Sure!
Yes, sire. Respect. Help us get it. Yes, fire Isis. We there. Respect. When the Almighty will let alone the constructive administration, don't you all walk away and then into the destruction. It is for this strong in meditation to develop in the right direction. For I see all about them is all about family for your feet. So those who are heavy strong must be on the crowd like beloved truth and right, beloved good for us. If you look, you will see the world is going astray and to pass. Back to your origin, refuse to be blind. Mama, I congratulate you. 9 months of unpaid and labor. Sleepless nights, coloring with my father. Yes, again, you're still ready to. Alright, I imagine trials and tribulations. Sleepless nights, coloring with my father. You be mother, there is no other. Mr. Jaja, I beg you bless me, mother. Alright, this goes to every single man and every in the world. Even when the man them not there, head not there. You overcome your fear and broke every chain. That is very good. To raise up the youth, them show them the right way and teach them the truth. Let them know nothing cannot be shoot. Every time you open them up, Rastafari. Come again. From top again. Come. Sins. Wallet. Yes, I am. Everybody good over there. You all feel alright? Yes, sir, because I man love to recognize the woman there first and the holy lion in the house. So they want to for the woman there. From top again. From. Yes. We there. Run it. Same rhythm. Yes, I am. Law and order. You know, okay. When the unwise believe following the constructive administration, don't roll for ambition into the greatest destruction. It is for destroying the nation to live before the nation. For I see all for the middle about payment for truth. So those who are payment strong must be on the front line. Teaching truth and right, reviving good manners. If you look, you will see the world going astray and too fast. Back to your origin, refuse to be blind. Alright, Mama. 9 months. Rastafari. Yes, sir. Giant reasoning in the right direction, in the right direction. If I open my way, then giant reasoning in the right direction. Necessary be a brethren and brethren. Selassie, blood rocko.
Stop it again.
Boys